So, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Cy Williams, and this is the deepest cut. I'm trying something a little new, and I'm testing out some new equipment, and I've been practicing. Um, we have finished up 12 episodes of our Deep Culture Steel Town session. That's the first half of season 1, and oh my goodness, did I have a good time filming those. So we filmed those live at, the Element Cannabis Superstore in downtown Hamilton. We have we have a studio in the window there, a street level studio, and when I was first presented to me, when the idea was first presented to me, I was intrigued because I had been working on my own great white whale for quite some time, and that great white whale was my own YouTube channel. You see, for those of you who don't know, I am actually entrenched in counterculture media. I am the owner and founder, as well as the editor in chief of one of the reporters for the long-standing counterculture publication High Canada Magazine. Now, High Canada Magazine made it to issue 100, and I was at that for 12 years, monthly issues. I couldn't believe that it grew as big as it did, and I was so impressed by the passion and dedication that each and every member of my High Canada Magazine team showed when it came to breaking stigma and elevating the people behind the plant and education and information and just like really working this new style of media. Now, last year, we finally shuttered the doors on High Canada Magazine, but that did not mean I was going to be done in the world of counterculture media. I've had an eye on YouTube for quite some time. If you know me from any of the shows that I attend, I'm either found on stage announcing guests, or I'm found in front of a camera interviewing people at the shows. Our High Canada our High Canada Magazine, YouTube channel, we hit our 1,000,000 views. We were so flipping proud. Over 2,500 videos that we've put up on that channel. We've changed the channel name recently to High Media Inc., and we have been using it to springboard some of our new counterculture ventures. And those counterculture ventures include Deep Culture Steel Town Sessions. Now, we broadcast live once a week. We've done 12 episodes. On Friday, I go back for to begin the second half of season 1, and that's just in time for Hamilton's art crawl, and I gotta tell you, I love me a good art crawl. I have been a visual artist and a creative, for most of my life. I don't really run with the usual pack. The idea of a 9 to 5 makes me wanna throw up in my mouth. The idea of being pinned down to and doing something very specific, also makes my stomach churn. I excel at what I do, and what I do very well. I have been an editor-in-chief and steering this counterculture boat for 12 years plus now. I ran a gallery before that. I've worked as a visual artist. I've done some very interesting things, but nothing could have prepared me fully for the experience of filming a live show and getting it out there across multiple platforms. So, Steel Town Sessions, we have our episode 13 which is filming live on Friday, June 12th. We're going to go live about 2 o'clock, and we're going to run, and explore all sorts of fun art ideas and opportunities. We're going to run till about 6 o'clock that night. I'm planning on doing some on the street recording as well, and that'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to go see what Art Crawl is all about and show you, our viewers, how amazing it can be when your city will shut down major streets for you to come out and really showcase your art and show people what you're capable of creating. So, our Steel Town Sessions, episode 13, films on Friday. Today is Wednesday, and I am just like gearing up for it and stretching and getting ready for what could be a very, very exciting show indeed. Our episode 12, our mid-season finale of Steel Town Sessions, was a lot of fun too. Let me tell you, we were joined by Randy Bobandy. Some people know him from the Trailer Park Boys as one of the iconic Canadian comedians on that show. For a long time, it was like Abbott and Costello or Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. It was Mr. Leahy and Randy. And let me tell you that those boys bring a lot of laughter to a lot of homes, a lot of people, not only here in Canada, but all over the world. And how cool was it that I got to bring Randy on the show to talk all things hash, Trailer Park Boys, and cheeseburgers, and to help him promote his Randy's Cheeseburger Picnic Tour, which it's his comedy tour that is traveling around Canada. I believe they're out in Quebec right now, and they'll be back in Toronto, Ontario soon enough. And what a show I hear Randy puts on. It was great to have him on our show on episode 12, and what a mid-season finale that was. We were also joined that episode by Devin, and Devin is from Cross Border and the Legacy brands, the legal Canadian brands out here in Canada. And Devin was so very excited to meet Randy because he's been a big Trailer Park Boy fan most of his life. And sadly, Devin arrived on site at the studio at 5 King Street East in Hamilton, just a few minutes too late. So he was unable to meet Randy or really be involved in those shenanigans. So my producer made sure that Devin had a ticket for the show, and I was going to go down to the show as well and see, maybe I could do another, quick media hit. Maybe I could come out and support. And Devin had made something very, very special. And he had asked me at the end of the show, he's like, listen, I really wanted to meet Randy. Um, we got kind of our wires crossed, and I brought something, but I brought something for Ricky. I'm like, for Ricky? I was interviewing Randy. He's like, yeah, I know. But there was a problem with the communication, and we thought you were interviewing Ricky. I'm like, well, as much as I would love to be interviewing Ricky, because I think Ricky is fucking awesome. Hear that, Ricky? I think you're awesome. I have Rickyisms that I use in my life all the time, and I have Rickied my way out of more than one police stop in my lifetime. Let me tell you. Thank you, Ricky. All the advice you have given on that show on how to live a better life and how to get out of just about any problem with police. So much appreciated. So I let Devin know that it was actually Randy, not Ricky, and he had brought a box of hash coins. Sadly, these hash coins had to be refrigerated because they have to stay at a very specific temperature. So when I carried them around after the show for a couple hours, unaware of what was in the box. All I knew is this little box had to be delivered to Randy so that he could get it to Ricky. What a trek this little box would make. Um, on the little cardboard box was Ricky's not dope stuff blazoned across it, written in black magic marker. It made me laugh and realize as I was bringing this box to Randy's Cheeseburger Picnic, how suddenly I had found myself in the midst of a good old fashioned trailer park boys adventure. I was now on a quest. I was on a quest to make sure that Randy received this box for Ricky. And not only would he agree to bring this box to Ricky, he would also, maybe, Ricky causes him a lot of problems on the trailer park. And, when I pushed him on the show about which one of the shit disturbers on the park was still giving him the most trouble all after all these years, he didn't even hesitate. And he called Ricky right out. I was like, okay, we can make this work. We can find a way to get this hash to Ricky at the Sunnyvale Trailer Park through Randy. And, even if Randy, decided to say, frick you, Ricky, and maybe keep some of that hash for himself, that would have been okay because it's all a part of the big, big story. Got to the Randy's Cheeseburger Comedy show, and there was a little bit more miscommunication. Devin showed up very excited. I was supposed to have media access, but that really fell through. And I could have went and bought a ticket, but I didn't. And I'd had a long day, big broadcast, or episode 12, mid-season finale. I had been out in the sun for a couple hours exploring beautiful, beautiful Hamilton, Ontario. And if you have not been out to Hamilton recently, you should check it out because what a beautiful city it has blossomed into, full of art and culture and music and just like so much going on. But so I was out there in the hot sun doing this, not realizing that some of my hash coins that I was supposed to be transporting to Randy for Ricky from Devon were melting in my bag. Well, got there, realized I did not have access. Probably was not going to go buy a ticket. I had already talked to Randy. I already had a great time. There were so many people lined up. Um, but to Devin, it looked like the end of the world because his hash that he had painstakingly worked on for Ricky to get to Randy to be delivered to Nova Scotia was melting. And yeah, this would have happened on the road anyways, and it would have happened during the travel that Randy was putting in for his cheeseburger picnic tour. And probably Ricky wouldn't have seen her for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks because I believe Randy's going to be on tour for weeks and weeks and weeks. Um, and we at that point, it was hot. Devin was reasonably upset. He had been waiting to meet one of his iconic heroes for quite some time. The hash that he had painstakingly prepared for Ricky to give to Randy, and plus the other things he had brought for Randy to sweeten the deal to bring the hash to Ricky. You're following me. Nothing had really worked out. And here now he was going to get a chance. He drove an hour and a half back from he came out to the show, drove an hour and a half to the show, went home, drove an hour and a half back in so that he could go to see Randy properly because he had missed him the first time at the Cheeseburger Picnic Tour, and only to discover that his media person who had said, "Oh yeah, I'll get you in. I'll bring you in with me. I have access." I suddenly was left with no access at all. And oh my God, how embarrassing that was for me. I said I could get him access. He was so excited to be able to deliver his hash to Randy to get to Ricky, and he had brought some treats for Randy. And you know, th- I couldn't get in. I couldn't go in with him, so I advised him. I'm like, listen, Devin, these things they happen. This is the Canadian cannabis sector. This is the Canadian comedy sector. This is culture, my friend. You know what you got to do? You go in there with your ticket. You wait and you find the opportunity to go talk to him and tell him what you've done, tell him what you got, and tell him what you'd like him to do. Give him the gifts you brought for him. Give him the box that says Ricky's not dope stuff. Ask him to deliver that to Ricky for you See what happens. Oh, the look on his face was absolute terror that he would have to go do this, and not only do this, he would have to do this on his own. No media hand-holding for Devin. And I bid my adieu, and I headed on up the road, and I left Devin to decide what he was going to do. And I had hoped in my heart of hearts that Devin would indeed find it within himself to go and get in line and go and talk to Randy and, find a way to extend that story to take more of a leading role in this trailer park adventure that we had found ourselves on. And later on, I found out he did. He went in, he had a good time, he laughed his ass off, and he did indeed find himself standing in front of his one of his cultural comedic icons. Devin met Randy, and I believe he got everything he needed to get to Randy. And I hope that that box labeled Ricky's Not Dope Stuff has traveled with Randy, and that some of these beautiful cash coins and these beautiful items in this box will make it to you, Ricky. And I hope Randy won't smoke it all because I know, you know what, if I were Randy and Ricky, you've been giving me as hard a time as you've been giving Randy for this last decade plus, these last years, I would probably smoke some of it myself before giving it to you. But you know what? I've met Randy, and what a heart of gold this guy has. And I could see him holding on to it across all his tours and eventually bringing it back to Sunnyvale Trailer Park, going over to Ricky and saying, "Hey, this is from Devin, and Cy says hi." And hopefully Randy will give us a good review. Um, uh, we enjoyed him. We enjoyed having Randy on our show so very, very much. What a funny fellow. And I found the banter to be funny, enlightening, and tremendously entertaining for not only me, but everybody in attendance. We were also joined that episode by Deshaun and Dilshan and my friend Dill. He is a race car driver for the Mini Indy out here in Hamilton, and he is a humanoid robotics expert. He's got his own humanoid robotics. So we had lots of stuff to talk about that episode, robots and hash and cheeseburgers. Oh my, oh my. So this next episode, I've taken a 2-week hiatus to get my shit together, so to speak. And well, I am ready for episode 13 on Friday, and that is just in time for Art Crawl. Now, Art Crawl is this thing that's been happening in Hamilton every summer for a number of years. It happens on the second Friday of every month, and artists set up on the streets across James and King and other areas um, in Hamilton and really showcase the creative spirit that Hamilton brings to the table. Now, we were supposed to do an Art Crawl episode already. We were. It was supposed to happen in June. I believe it was June 8th was the second Friday in June. No, sorry, May 8th. I think it was May 8th, was the second Friday in June. And oh boy, baby, I was sick. And you know what? I had a painting I was getting ready to bring out that had been working on, and I was pretty darn excited. We had made arrangements for these awesome giveaways. And when I say awesome giveaways, I mean freaking awesome giveaways. We're basically giving away 2 art studios in a basket. We have been taking raffle tickets for these 2 baskets for quite some time. One is worth about $325, and it's about $325 worth of art supplies, paints, colors, markers, paper, mediums, brushes, and more. And then we didn't think that was enough, honestly. We thought it made a great second prize, but we needed something bigger and badder. So we have another basket a bigger, bolder, badder basket of art supplies. Even more art supplies than the first one with a retail value of just over $600. This is a studio and a half in a basket. And if you are a creative, if you want to experiment with new mediums, you want to try out some new brushes, some new paints, some new inks, or like high viscosity acrylics with perhaps palette knives, well, guess what? You want to win one of these art studio in a baskets. These art studios do go. Can you imagine winning $325 worth of art supplies? Bang! Suddenly you got it. Big old bag of art supplies. Or can you imagine suddenly in your possession $600 in art supplies? Bang! I would love $600 in art supplies. Art supplies are expensive. You don't even know how much I spend on the colors black, white, or the non-colors black or white. How much I'll spend for a really good red, or the very perfect brush that I need to complete those very soft little kisses, those touches that I have to do, or how much I spend on palette knives, or how much I spent on paper while I was doing my printmaking internship at the University of Toronto or at Open Studio. I have spent more money on paper than probably most people in my graduating class. Um, I have spent a lot of money on art supplies, and art supplies are not cheap. Getting good art supplies can be problematic. So, for the opportunity for some young, struggling artist or old, struggling artist to win one of two, that's almost $900 worth of art supplies. For you to win something like this, for us to be able to kick off your art crawl experience, for to be able to give you the materials that you need to create. That's my artist heart. So good. So, if you're interested in winning one of these 2 big baskets, you know what you need to do? You need to head down to Element, at 5 King Street East in downtown Hamilton. You need to drop a raffle ticket in the handy dandy raffle bin. It's like about this big, and I think it's a hexagon. It's made of clear plastic, and you can drop a raffle ticket in. And on Friday's show, we will draw not one but two, both of these amazing prize winners. And oh, I love giving stuff away on the show. We'll be giving away these 2 big art baskets. We have given away a Shatterizer, like, basket, complete with a Shatterizer and a snapback hat and more. We have given away Cardi B tickets, which we gave 2 sets of those away, in preparation for last week's show, or the last show, episode 12, featuring Randy and Dilshan and Devin and myself and Vanessa, of course. Um, we gave away 3 sets of tickets to go see the Trailer Park Boys, to go see Randy's Cheeseburger Picnic. I think we gave away 5 tickets to go see Randy, and Randy's Cheeseburger Picnic. We gave 4 to see Cardi B, and we're gonna be giving away other sorts of tickets. We gave away tickets for people to go to the, Stone what was it, the Stone Inn, in Niagara Falls for 420, where the CCTA was holding a giant celebration. The CCTA, for those of you who don't know, that's the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Alliance. They've been doing a lot of things within the Canadian cannabis tourism sector, because I don't know if you know this or not, but Canadian cannabis tourism is hot, hot, hot right now. And they're also getting ready for their second CCTA, Canadian Cannabis Tourism Awards. So stay tuned online. You'll probably see nominations opening up pretty soon. So, speaking of awards, I went to Grow Up. I didn't really go to Grow Up. I wanted to go to Grow Up. I had reached out to event organizer Randy Rowe in an email, and emails are tricky. Not everybody will get back to me. Um, but I have a good relationship with Grow Up, and I respect what Randy and his team have done over the years, and what they've built, and how they've continued to evolve. And I was very, very happy to be able to be the one to nominate Randy Rowe and be the guy who gave him his award when he won the very, very first Lifetime Achievement Award at the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Awards last year. Oh, that was fun. It was good to see Randy acknowledged in such a big way because this man has dedicated a lot to building what he has built with Grow Up, with Canavision. Um, and mad respect for the man. And he didn't get back to me. And it happens. It does. I'd wanted to set up grow up sessions at the Grow Up Awards or the Grow Up Conference, actually. Wanted a little nook and a table and some access. And I wanted to be able to interview people as I've done in the past for the Grow Up Conference. But sadly, that did not happen. See, I don't have High Canada Magazine anymore. High Canada Magazine had not been nominated for Cannabis Magazine of the Year. High Canada Magazine had not been nominated for Online News Source of the Year. I was nominated for a couple things, which I thought was funny. I was nominated for Influencer of the Year, and that was the 8th time I have been nominated for Influencer of the Year. And Steel Town Sessions have been nominated a bunch of times for Podcast of the Year. And that was freaking awesome. We had we really only done 12 episodes of Deep Culture Steel Town Sessions by the time the Grow Up Awards finally, came around on June 1st. I still have lots of friends within the Canadian cannabis sector, and I was so blessed that day. June 1st was an unusual day for me. It was a celebratory day, but it was also a very sad day. It was my older son Elijah's birthday, so I was very happy to see him. And I'd picked them up something special months ago for a little token of his childhood, and I was excited to see my son on his birthday. Um, and I knew the Grow Up Awards were happening that evening, and, I also, I had heard a few days before that one of the kids in my world, had passed away, and, I've got a lot of kids in my life, my own sons, nieces, nephews, and, friends who have kids, and I spent a lot of time building some really amazing relationships with some really amazing kids who have grown up to become really amazing people. One of those kids, I consider him like a son. I considered him a son. He and my son Xander, they grew up together. They spent a lot of time together. Um, from the time they were very little until they were just about teenagers, they spent a heck of a lot of time together, and they were able to stay in touch. And he he had passed away last week. He suffered from epilepsy, and during one of his seizures, um, this young man passed away. Um, his heart gave out, and it was the first time I'd lost one of the kids in my world. Um, a lot of kids in my world, and I've lost a lot of adults. It really got me thinking about the nature of grief. I thought I knew grief. I did. I have had a master's degree, I thought, in grief over the last 10 years. You know, my assistant editor, Emmy Woodside, she committed suicide year 3 of High Canada Magazine and really opened my eyes to what was happening around me in terms of people's mental health and stability. I'd never had anybody close to me, one, die, or two, take their life. And that was incredibly eye-opening experience for me and for my team. I've had my good friend Dan Zeke. He died a few days short of his 50th birthday. Dan and I were tight. We were good friends, like very good friends. We've gone through the shit together, let me tell you. And we were both going to turn 50 same year. And a couple days before his 50th birthday, bam, his heart blew out. He was a bodybuilder. He didn't smoke cigarettes. Certainly loved his weed, and that was just about all. He loved weed. He loved working out, and I miss him. I miss him all the time. Then both my mom and my dad passing away back to back, that fucked with me, a lot over the last couple of years. I didn't think I would need to become so well versed in grief. I didn't think I needed these kinds of lessons, but it turns out we all get these kinds of lessons as we get older, people in our circles. This is the first time, though, I had lost a kid in my life. He wasn't a kid anymore. He was 30. Um, Gone too soon. It's gone too soon. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. I'd talked to him on and off on Facebook. We'd actually spoken a couple months ago about grabbing a coffee one of the times I was in Toronto, catching up. And I would have liked that. I would have liked that. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do that with you, man. Um, it was a loss. So June 1st, I went to my friend's funeral and his celebration of life. And saw so many of his friends, and I saw his sisters, and I saw his mom and dad. And I tried very hard to be there for the family because I love that family so much. It's hard. Can you imagine losing one of your own children? Lost both my parents, lost friends, lost relatives. This is the first time I'd lost a kid in my world. It made me sad, and I think it's gonna make me sad for a while. But I understand it's a different type of grief, and it's a grief that I haven't really experienced before, and my heart just goes out to his mom, 'cause I can't imagine how difficult it would be to lose a child, and my heart goes out to his sisters who all loved him dearly, and to his friends, and to his community. First time I signed, like, a quilt while I was at the service for him and his family, and a number of people wrote messages on the coffin, myself included. Um, and I hope wherever you are, young man, you're doing okay, and know that you are loved, and know that you are missed. And I didn't really wanna get into that dark, deep story, but I had told that just so I could tell you about my frame of mind when I finally arrived at the Grow Up Conference Awards held downtown Toronto at the Harbour Castle Hilton. Beautiful building right down by the lake. And as I left the funeral, I got a message from a good friend of mine, Mrs. Pauline Hyde. Pauline and David Hyde, they run Canon Navigators and Hyde and Associates, and Pauline has her cannabis market space platform, which if you haven't checked it out, you really should when it comes to like finding work or equipment or connections within the Canadian or international cannabis space. The cannabis market space is your one-stop shopping place. Wow, look at that, I rhymed. No, actually, it's a great community hub, and Pauline is just, like, an extraordinary individual. She was a guest on Steel Town Sessions, I think episode 8 or 9, and we pretty much filled an entire episode just talking about the past, present, and future of cannabis in Canada. And Pauline texted me to say that they actually had an extra seat at their gala table for me if I wanted to attend. And I did. I decided I did. I absolutely did. And even though I filled my face and my stomach at the funeral because there was so much food, and it was all my friends. It was all his favorite food too. So I was pretty stuffed. But I walked down to the Hilton. I cleared my thoughts, stopped in and saw my son. And I arrived just a few minutes after the awards ceremonies had started. Oh, it's been a while. It's been a minute since I've gone to a Canadian cannabis tourism or a Canadian cannabis show, especially in the heart of Toronto. So I slid in, I found my table, I said hello to David, who so graciously immediately found me some food, which I turns out I was still hungry, and I ravenously ate. And Pauline came over and said hi, and I was introduced to the amazing people sitting at their table. And I sat back and I enjoyed the awards. I enjoyed the awards very much until I didn't. So we didn't win podcast of the year, and that was okay. I wasn't really expecting us to, but I was so very, very honored that we received so many nominations and now we were even considered for this award. And I noted that a few people that I do not necessarily always get along with had been also nominated for Influencer of the Year. Now, there's one particular person within the Canadian cannabis space, and I despise this guy. He's actually a relative of mine. I allowed him to, I encouraged him even to get into the cannabis space. I, um, I helped train him, my team and I. We opened so many doors for him, only for him to spit in our hands and our face, to bully staff members, and to go on to have one of the most despicable reputations within the Canadian cannabis space. And I saw this person at the Grow Up Awards, and I saw a few other people at the Grow Up Awards, and I was like, "Wow, here I am at this space, and I'm surrounded by my friends and colleagues." And I have a lot of friends here. I got to see Remo and Sandra, and I nodded at a few other people that I saw, but I was also like a little triggered to see a couple of douchebags. And I don't know if you know much about my reputation within the Canadian cannabis space, but I'd love to call out fucking douchebags. And I sat and I watched this particular douchebag, and I started to get angry and angry and even angrier. And I've been promising myself that the next time I saw this fucking motherfucker that I would break his nose. Not a very grown-up approach for me. But, one of the last things my father said to me before he passed away, and I was telling him about how many problems I'd been having with this particular team member who also happened to be family. Oh, why? Why did it have to be family? One of the very last things my father said to me before he passed away, one of the second last call I had with him before he died, was he said to me, "Cyril, you break his fucking nose. You teach him that he cannot treat girls, women, children. He can't be like that. You can't you can't you can't act like that without there being some kind of response, without there being some sort of I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Accountability. If you're gonna play, you're gonna have to pay. Oh, I wanted to break this guy's nose so bad. I wanted to stand up, walk over, grab him by the friggin' collar, and punch his nose, square in the nose. Bam. And I looked at the pros and cons. I sat, I finished my chicken. I clapped for certain awards because I agreed with some of the people who had won. And then as the team came time for Influence of the Year, I looked at the cut eye happening between, you know, idiot at the back table, and a few other idiots who are also nominated for this idiotic award. And that goes for me too. I'm another one of those idiots who had been nominated for Influencer of the Year. And yeah, well, that's the way it goes. We give each other cut eye, and thankfully, not one of the idiots won. Somebody who actually deserved to win won. I was so pleased with this. Somebody actually gives a shit about cannabis, who isn't doing it for clout or influence. You know, I ever win an Influencer of the Year award, I will get up, and I've been working on my anti-influencer of the year speech for 8 fucking years. I got some things to say when it comes to influencer culture, and not all of them are nice. Actually, most things in this speech are not nice. Perhaps it was nice year 1, the first year, 8 years ago when I was first nominated. Perhaps it was nice 10 years ago while I was nominated. Perhaps it was, slightly not so nice 5 times ago. But by the 8th time, I'm like, "Fuck it. I have some shit to say, and I can't wait to say it." Mind you, I don't think they give the person who wins Influencer of the Year the opportunity to take the mic. Sure would be fun, though. So, about quarter to 9, award ceremony ends at 9 o'clock. They were getting ready to announce the Grower of the Year award, and I finished my dessert, sipping my coffee. very, very posh, sipping my coffee, and I was weighing pros and cons. What would happen if I walked over there and broke this fellow's nose? Here I am, considered a respectable member of my community, my sector. I ran and have continued to run High Media Inc., and it is considered to be a an established and legitimate media voice in Canada when it comes to the Canadian cannabis sector. I would, one, probably be banned from every single Grow Up Awards for the rest of my life should I go over and break this fellow's nose. Paulina David would likely never invite me back to share a table with them, and I would probably embarrass my dear hosts a lot if I were to give in to anger and break this fellow's nose. And thirdly, did I really want to put the effort into breaking this guy's nose? Sure, it'd make me feel good for a minute or two, maybe even 10 minutes. It might make me feel so good that I would ride that high all the way back home that night. But I was sad that day. I'd lost a kid in my life who I cared a lot about. I saw another kid who's an adult, my own son, who means so much to me. As I looked at this idiot, who I found out was just like capable of so much worse behavior over the next couple of days because, sour grapes is a thing. Um, I left. I just picked up my stuff. I nodded at my hosts and I skidooed. Where my hosts, I think they were busy talking to people. And I left and I decided to take the higher road. The higher road. Oh. And as I walked from the Harbor Castle Hilton to Union Station to catch my train, I mulled this over. Was I failing my father by not doing what I said I was going to do? Was I a coward for not living up to my obligations to break this fucker's nose the next time I saw him? And I've been waiting a while. I've been waiting a while. And just weeks before, when I'd received complaints from British Columbia about this guy back at it again, ripping people off, ripping off stores, ripping off individuals, and then I heard more bad behavior that happened after the Grow Up Awards, how this individual just spent the entire time bitching out organizers and being a general jackass. It's like, did I do the right thing? Well, I probably did. I'm not in jail today. I am not being charged with assault or assault with intent or assault on peace officer or any other kind of assault because I'm pretty sure that's how that would have gone down. Also, I'm pretty sure that Randy will allow me to come to other Grow Up events, and I am pretty sure that Paulina David will continue to allow me to join them at certain things they do as well. I did not drop to this idiot's level. Um, and, you know, I'd love to see people like this just leave the sector, but they'll just go to another sector. You know, when people are guilty of doing things within the community, don't be afraid to call them out. It's okay to call out bad behavior. And you know what? After calling out bad behavior like I have for the last 10 years, it's okay to lose my temper about things like that too. What's not okay is acting on it. And I'm glad I did not go break his freakishly fat nose on his freakishly pudgy little face. Because how would that have made me look? That would take any legitimacy I have for talking it outside away. I would, I watched what happened when people fought in Vegas at the MJ show. I've watched what's happened every time I've seen it escalate into violence. It never escalates or it never ends well. When it escalates, it never ends well. And it would not have ended well for me. So I've had about a week to mull it over now. And oh, funny enough, oh my goodness, I'm recording this and I'm telling Randy stories, and I saw a message from Randy popping in across my phone. Yes, it's true. We actually are being joined on the back half of season 1 and the next couple episodes by a good friend of mine, good friend of everybody in the cannabis sector, one Mike Mihalik. Do you know who Mike Mihalik is? You should. So Mike ran Caniscribe for a long time. But Mike was also a lineman for both the Toronto Argonauts and the Hamilton Ticats. Hell of an athlete, massive man, biggest heart, and he'll be joining me on Steel Town Sessions in a couple weeks. Can't wait for that, Mike. Oh, Randy, should get you out of my show too, so you can talk about what the Grow Up Conference was like in Toronto this time around, and hey, maybe we can get you on that Hamilton kick. There's more than just Hamilton exploding within the Canadian cannabis sector. Tonight in Kitchener is the Tether event. And Tether does these cannabis sampling events, and they have been in so many different cities. And it's pretty darn exciting to see them here in Kitchener, and I'll be going to check that out tonight. Probably doing a little live broadcasting as well. Okay, so glad I didn't punch that idiot in the nose. It's too bad we didn't win any awards. The food was really good, and so was the hospitality. Thanks again, David. Thanks again, Pauline. Randy, I was really happy to see you up on stage. I know you got a lot on your plate, and running these things takes a lot of energy and a lot of bandwidth. So I'm not even mad that you didn't get back to me. But how much fun would it have been to have me there doing interviews? Oh, do you remember, Randy, you're watching? Do you remember the Jim Belushi interview in Victoria? Oh, man. Okay. I'll tell you a quick story and then I'm going to log off. So in Victoria, Jim Belushi himself from Belushi Farms was coming out to the Victoria Canadian Cannabis Conference, the Grow Up Conference that was held, I think it was second year in Victoria. Um, and it was great to have him there. Such an exciting celebrity. And I booked an interview with him and had him visit our booth. And we did this amazing interview. And I have per I have, a leaning towards bringing interesting and new people onto my team. And I had brought this one individual on my team, and he was a new guy, but he was very passionate about cannabis. Um, he was from the Ukraine, and he was very passionate about what was happening in the Ukraine. And he was involved in the Ukrainian Cannabis Alliance, Medical Cannabis Alliance. I believe that's the right name, could be wrong. And just of interest, actress Mila Jovovich is also part of that Ukrainian Cannabis Coalition. And it was pretty damn exciting to be talking to Jim and to have this interview with him. And what I didn't know is that our new staffer, our friend, had been speaking and trying to get Jim's attention for the bulk of the day before our interview. And what our my staffer had wanted is he wanted to be able to express his appreciation for all the things that Jim Belushi has done. Um, and express a need for Jim to acknowledge what was happening in the Ukraine. This was at the start of the Ukrainian war, the war that's going on to this day. And my staffer was pretty darn excited, and he was about 6'4", weighed about 240 pounds. He looked a little bit like a Russian mobster or Ukrainian mobster. And all day, I knew my friend was out on the floor checking. It was his first cannabis show, so I didn't have a lot of expectations of him on him. I wanted to go out there and get a vibe and feel and see if anything synchronistically could happen. And then over the course of the day, I'd be going out. I never stay still at a cannabis show. And I was going from one place to another. One of my lawyer buddies, he stopped me, took me aside. He's like, "Sai, there's this guy looking for you, and he looks kind of mean. You don't happen to owe the mob money, do you?" No, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know any. I don't think I'm in trouble with any mobs. And then about 15 minutes later, a friend of mine outside is like, "Listen, this is Guy looking for you, and he is so intense. Are you in trouble?" I'm like, "Ah, I'm not in trouble. It's just it's one of my new team members. He's a little high strung. He's his first show. He's pretty excited about, Jim Belushi and everything else." So I think three people had mentioned my this guy looking for me, this scary Russian mobster dude, who's your scary Ukrainian mobster dude. And I didn't think the dude was that scary, but you know what? I could see how it could be misconstrued that my friend was perhaps not there for the best of intentions. And even though he was. So, got the interview going with Jim Belushi. We got our chairs positioned, the cameras are rolling, we're talking, and a crowd of people is forming. Ahead in front of us as we're doing this interview. And I pan across, and there's like 30 or 40 people. I see Randy Rowe, and I see his wife Charlie, and I see some other people from the Canadian cannabis space. And I see my guy, and my guy is vibrating like he has shotgun 6 or 7 Red Bulls, that he is eating too much candy. He has caffeinated beyond the point of comfortability, and my man is just vibrating. I can see him there, and Jim sees him too. And I asked Jim a question, and he stops. He's like, "So I just hold on for 1 second." He stops the interview, this live interview we're doing, points out my staffer in the audience, asks for security to come over, remove the staffer, and he, dealt with it in such an interesting and off the cuff way. But he had been seeing this staffer of mine for some time, all day. And then the staffer was making him extremely nervous. And to be honest, my staffer was making me extremely nervous as well. So Jim calls out my staffer, tells him to basically calm the fuck down, instructs security to remove my staffer, and then turns back to me, and we finish up a really, really great, funny interview, and actually one of my better interviews too. And like nothing had ever happened. Made me laugh. Made for quite a memorable Jim Belushi interview. And funny enough, I never saw that staffer again. Too bad. Would have liked to have debriefed that day, that's for sure. Don't feel bad, though, we all get a little starstruck sometimes. Um, I've seen people lose their ever-loving mind running into, like, Jim Belushi or Tommy Chong or Snoop Dogg or Wiz Khalifa or the Beach Boys or Lee Aaron or, any of the cool people we've had the opportunity to speak to, some of the cool athletes, celebrities, performers, and spokespeople. Just some amazing people out there. I remember the when we did Rain Maida, I had him on our cover. He's the lead singer of Our Lady Peace. What a cool experience that was. Or Henry Rollins, or there were a lot of people who lose their shit when it comes to Ramo or to Steve D'Angelo. Um, there's so many cool people within the Canadian, North American, and international cannabis sector, and some of them are celebrities, some of them are sports, like athletes, but there are always some really cool people. Anyways, I wanted to share that story with you. Trying to get my bugs out and just gear up for what is going to be an amazing show on Friday. So Friday, June 12th, we're going to be doing our special art crawl episode of Steel Town Sessions. We're going to be broadcasting live at 5 King Street West on the corner of James and King in downtown Hamilton. My name is Cy Williams. I'm your host, and this has been The Deepest Cut. Join me next week, or join me Saturday when we get back onto The Deepest Cut, and I'll talk about how the Art Crawl show went and share some more stories from my ever so illustrious career. That's it for me right now. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and stay lifted, Canada. That was fun. Thanks, Dick Dog.